The Human Founder Podcast by Gali Bloch-Liran.
Hi, I'm Gali Bloch-Liran and welcome to The Human Founder, the podcast where we speak about the mental aspects of the entrepreneurial journey. Entrepreneurs often describe the emotional roller coaster that is embedded in being an entrepreneur investor, where you experience the lowest of lows when you litigate with Facebook for about 2 years and was under immense mental stress and pressure, and the highest of highs when you and your 2 kids, Eitan, 6 and 5 years old, and Lily, 3 and 5 years old, ran an Intel Ignite 1-week bootcamp, agroclimate tech program for Kibbutz Cholit as part of the Rebuilding the Gaza Envelope that instilled hope in the community members and helped startups find the right place for their POC and help the community thrive again. And it's from that place of uncertainty, the need to constantly self-manage ourselves, keep up our energy and be mentally resilient in order to deal with everything. Well, it's not easy, right? In each episode, I will be talking to entrepreneurs, investors, psychologists, being their sounding board, with the goal of creating a space for this less spoken about layer, which is the mental aspect accompanying the entrepreneurial journey. I will also share tips and tricks to help boost your focus, clarity, and mental resilience. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Alon Leibovich. Hey, Alon, and it's really great to have you here.
Fantastic to be here. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, Alon, I'm both honored and happy that you're here. And you are an entrepreneur backed by awesome founders and a builder. You're also a psychologist, organizational one, that no one will get stressed here.
Yeah, no
but you never practiced. But it did shape the way you look at the world and of startup companies, and we'll talk about it. Prior to Intel Ignite, which is where you are today, you founded, CEO'd, and successfully scaled a marketing tech business. But now you know how to talk about the semiconductors and to help other tech ventures, deep tech ventures, to thrive. And the most important thing for you nowadays is your family, Hadass, and your 2 children, Eitan and Lily. And we can feel it, in the energy and what you bring into the conversation soon. Before we dive into today's episode, make sure to follow the Human Founder podcast in the app you're listening at. And I'd be happy if you click on review, follow, or subscribe, depends on the platform, and rate the podcast. That way you'll keep your finger on the pulse and be updated right away with all the new episodes straight ahead to your feed. And it will also support the podcast and make me happy. So, did you press follow? We can start. So, Alon.
Yeah.
Where we shall begin?
I don't know, but even
it was
just
a long opening.
Yeah,
but
it was a very long opening, and I kind of first of all, I'm excited. Okay, like from your description, whenever somebody describes yourself to like in your ears, okay, like to your ears, you're like, who's that person?
Are you talking about me?
Are you talking about me? Yeah,
me?
but you definitely touched like points that move something, like for me personally.
Someone asked me, do you record the opening every time anew, or that you have it ready and you just, put it in the editing? And I said, I record it every time anew. Why? The main reason I do it is because the interviewee, this time it helps him or her like to get into the right energy to prepare themselves mentally, prepare themselves into the situation, and it creates a flow. And I think it's very, very meaningful both for founders, we'll talk about it later, how they prepare themselves mentally into the situations they're going to be involved in.
No, you're super right. I think like it helps create a setting, okay? Like we're psychologists, okay? So let's talk about like kind of the room, okay? And the importance of the setting and the environment. But you also said, okay, like entrepreneur, investor, and some other thing that I can't really recall right now, but like they all describe me. I mean, like that's I was an entrepreneur, like still have a DNA of an entrepreneur now. Now I'm kind of on the other side of the fence. Okay, most of the time, like we see a lot of startups, we work with a lot of startups, so like I'm getting that other side of the experience. But definitely, it sounds like that person that you're talking to has been through some stuff.
So some stuff, and you really do have a unique and interesting journey.
Yeah.
We spoke briefly before we began the podcast about the main things that we would like to speak about here, and you really bring interesting views of both being a founder and all the things that you had to deal with and the areas that you chose to study at the university and how you actually created or brought it all together nowadays to the way that you support founders. So maybe, you know, you studied psychology, psychological organizational psychology. I want to take you now, but for the part in your life when you're a founder and CEO, and I want you to share with us a little bit the story, the background, how did it begin, and later on we'll get to how did it end.
Sure, for sure. So I'll share with kind of how, like, what was the founding story of the company. Before this, I was founder CEO of a company called Brand Total. Brand Total did paid social benchmarking and measurement. Okay, so like for the American market, it's usually very understood that like if you say Nielsen, okay, so there's like a ratings measurement company. So we did Nielsen for social, for paid media. And I got to it because I was working at McCann, the advertising agency, and I felt like the pain, like working there. I did strategy there for all of these big brands, Honda, Unilever, IKEA, etc. And I literally felt that like I was missing some of the data points because everybody is targeted in social advertising, meaning if you're not a part of the target audience, okay, like as a marketing manager, you don't get to see the actual ads. So in social media, it's very prevalent, and that was the big idea behind Brand Total. You couldn't get targeted, like competitive intelligence on paid targeted ads by other people. That led me basically to start Brand Total. Brand Total, now it's funny. Now in hindsight, I know that although like in the trenches, it's really hard for you to see that you're doing well, okay? Because you're in the trenches, okay? And everything is so dramatic, okay? Especially being a first-time founder doing this. But we did like 3x like growth year over year, and then another 3x. We raised money cumulatively like $25 million or over 3 rounds of funding. Back in the days when $2 million were a big seed round, now it's barely a pre-seed round. Almost 50 Fortune 500 companies, including Samsung, Verizon, Mercedes, Coke, Pepsi, Kimberly-Clark, L'Oreal, etc. So big companies that I now know that is very hard to actually land.
Big brands.
Yeah, big household name brands. You know, almost 60 employees. I relocated to New York, spent 4 years in New York, built a team there. And although like it was damn hard, don't get me wrong, okay? In hindsight, which everybody says hindsight is a 2020 view, okay? Like it's really easy to figure it out now. It was great, like the first few years. We became too big, and then I ended up getting sued by Facebook, which wasn't a fun experience. I do not recommend it.
Did you see it coming, or were there any signs?
Yeah, so I learned that I'm being sued by Facebook over the media. Like one day you wake up and there's a TechCrunch article. Like one of my friends, a CEO.
But not a good one.
Not a good one. The CEO from, like a friend CEO of mine, like from the West Coast, like he texts me and like, hey, dude, you guys are on TechCrunch. Are you aware of that? And I'm like opening it up and I see that Facebook is suing my business.
What are you feeling in this specific moment?
Yeah, you lose. It's like somebody punched you in the stomach. Like you lose air. You have trouble breathing. Seriously. You're like, no way. You can't even look at it. Okay, it's painful to look at that article.
How do you respond to it? What do you do?
First call is to my mentor. We'll talk about that later. But second call is to my lawyer, obviously. And I remember that day vividly. It's like October 1st, 2020, 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Wow.
It's really hard to forget about that. And 2 kids are screaming. Okay. I have like Eitan, like my older one was almost 3 and 3 something. And Lily was 2.5 months old. So screaming baby, okay, like in the house, and shit hits the fan. That's basically what happens. After that, I basically put together kind of a team, okay? Like that's with the help of my mentor. Okay, it's like, okay, this is not the time to get emotional. He's like,
I have to focus and
you have to focus,
address it.
yes, and be, like mission driven. Like, we'll deal with all the emotions later, I promise. Like,
it's
that's
like on hold.
Yeah,
you didn't let fear, anxiety,
fight
frustration,
fight or flight. Okay, like you get into survival mode and you have to operate. And the way we operate is like we basically, like, together with him, my mentor, and this is New York, and like I called the guy and he's like, okay, like, where are you at? Okay, I'm coming over to your house. He came over and he arrived.
Lawyer?
What?
The lawyer?
No, my mentor.
The mentor.
Yeah, came over to my house like 9 p.m. Okay, we sat all the way to like 2 a.m. And you map out the crisis management like work streams. There are 6 of them. I now know because like you spend what the hell did I do there? Okay, let's maybe write it down. It might be useful for somebody sometime. So employees, investors, customers, legal, media, and operations. So shit hits the fan in all different like work streams, but you really gotta divide and conquer. Like, it's not like you're gonna go and like fight everything by yourself. So
by one stream by one, you need to see how you address it.
Yeah.
Who are the partners that actually help you to address it?
Yep.
And how you decrease the anxiety and the stress that you have by doing the right thing?
You nailed it, okay? Like, the doing, like, really decreases the stress, okay? Because I don't know if it decreases the stress, but at least it helps you.
It helps you manage it.
Yeah, there you go. It helps you focus and not the stress, okay? Because, believe me, the thoughts that are going through my mind at that particular moment in time is like, oh my God, what are the investors going to say about that? What are my employees going to say about that? Like, what's the media going to say about that?
For how long did you have those voices in your head?
The voices in my head? 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
From that event when that occurred, that article on TechCrunch.
Yes.
For 2 years, you had those voices in your mind.
Various degrees, okay, of severity, okay, like in various volumes, okay, because you learn how to control the volume. Because at the end of the day, okay, you learn, like, once you go to a therapist properly, how to manage stress. Okay, these voices, your brain is constantly on. It works
alerted all the time,
and it operates in waves. Okay, the question is like whether you decide to ride like a specific wave, or where you let it like go past and wash you, like past you.
And the ability to do it and to navigate it, like to try to manage the stress levels and the waves. Also takes a toll. It's a lot of energy and mental energy to be aware of it and to choose. I'm responding. I'm not responding. I let it come. I let it go. I let it flow.
Oh yeah. The attention is just like any other muscle. If you're working out, in the gym, okay, and this time you're gonna do pecs, and next you're gonna do leg day. Attention is the same type of muscle that you need to train. You need to focus, and stress is a physiological aspect to it. It accrues in your body, so you learn how to navigate like through all of these things. But kind of we're jumping between the timelines here, okay?
Okay.
But let me go back and kind of wrap up the.
So the mentor comes to your place.
Yeah, the mentor comes to my place. We settle the streams, and I actually remember. It's funny. Like one of my board members, investors. Like I send out an email, okay, to all company, like to all employees, and because the article is on TechCrunch.
Yes.
It's not like I can hide.
Yeah.
Okay. It's and I actually tried.
You learn how to manage a crisis.
Yeah.
Because when you have a crisis, you can try and cover it and ignore it.
Yeah.
And this is not the right way to manage it.
No.
Or you can take ownership, responsibility, and to see how you decrease the range of it and manage it.
And the point is that I had no choice.
It's also a way to move forward.
It is also a way.
There's only one way.
Yeah, there's only one way, at least at that particular moment in time. I send out an email and I schedule a board meeting for tomorrow morning. I assemble like a war cabinet, okay? Like unfortunately, like something that everybody's kind of well aware right now. But the war cabinet is my mentor, a crisis manager, like per se, okay? A guy who deals with the day-to-day crises and knows how to do that. A PR person, which people mostly overlook, but communication is a key element of crisis, both like internally, okay? Like to help you articulate your thoughts, okay?
Definitely.
Because when you say stuff out loud, you need somebody to help and organize the thoughts in a way that's productive for you to communicate them.
Because everyone are looking up to you.
Yeah.
And they're listening to each word and also to all the things that you don't say, that you behave, your eyes, your hands, the way your body language.
Everything matters, and an experienced PR person really knows how to help you maintain that. So that was the work cabinet, and of course, like a lawyer and a litigator. Okay, so my corporate lawyer and my American litigator. Okay, because this is a loss. The type of crisis is lawsuit. Okay, so the legal element is pretty.
How did you feel a moment before the board meeting the next day?
So it's funny. I literally was gonna tell about that. I was gonna speak about that. So actually, when I sent out the email, it came to I think 12 midnight, and I get like an inbound over WhatsApp from one of my board members, and he's like, "Alon, did you just schedule a board meeting for tomorrow?" For them, it's like Friday. Like he was working out at the gym. Like, did you just schedule a board meeting for like 8 hours from now? I'm like, what the hell? And he and I tell him about that, and there's silence, and he says, I know you don't think about it. I know it's hard for you to see it right now, but it's a good thing. We'll talk in the morning. Bye. And that's it.
Wow.
And that was, I literally met up with him like a couple of months back, and I told him, you don't understand
how
impactful that sentence was to me in managing the unfolding 2 years. Because, I mean, first of all, like the people that I think, like it helps you understand that you get cues about like investors, like at the onset of like when you raise money from them, but you don't really know how your investors are until shit really hits the fan.
Right.
And, when the tough,
when the going gets tough,
the tough gets going. When the waves are whatever, all of these cliches.
Yeah.
Cliches become cliches because they're true.
Yeah.
Okay, like because they represent real life situations. That kind of injection of like perspective helped me manage, I think, like the ongoing 2 years in a productive manner. Going back to aside from these work streams, and I'm fast forwarding kind of throughout the story. I realized that my customers, which is an important, significant thread, don't want to leave. My head of customer success, on the other hand, or just like, generally and unfortunately, when Israeli founders onboard American employees, the level of trust, is different than working with Israeli employees. Different values, different set of, it's hard for Israelis to really get on the same page, and I understand it now, like in hindsight, to really harness like people who are not from our culture to kind of the DNA or the imprint.
To understand it all the way.
Yeah. And it's hard and it's frightening. And I understand, like, in hindsight, like at that particular moment in time, I'm pissed as hell, because people are like, employees are either leaving or like I need to fire them because they're losing their shit, because it is a stressful situation. It's a stressful situation for me. So let alone like the person at the bottom of the food chain who doesn't really understand what the hell is going on, but the third biggest company in the world is now suing us. So
from the moment you see this article on TechCrunch, for how long, like if you need to put it on a Gantt timeline, how long until you decide actually to close the company?
Oh, that takes a while. Let me answer that in just
sure.
2 minutes. Okay. Because I think there are some important notes to hit here.
Okay.
So I think the point is because the customers, I do all of the customer conversation calls and I tell them about it, and I decided I'm gonna fight this because the customers don't want to leave, and we're talking about Fortune 500 like people. Okay, I mean, risk averse is their second name. Okay, so but they still decide that they're gonna stay. And that helps me, again, like a very serious big boost, to decide that I'm going to fight this.
Like you're in a crisis, but you're getting different kind of reflections and mirrors. One is from your mentor. The
Yep.
other one is from the investor
Investors.
that you mentioned. Now is from the customers.
Yep.
And it helps you navigate the way that you operate and the way that you function.
And by the way, to me, like these were the most important things. Okay, I mean, like the mentor, like the person that I know that sees me, the investors, the people who I took a lot of money from, like support me, the customers who are people who want the product for what it's worth. Okay, and like the brain fart that I had like a couple of years ago is now too valuable for them to skip on, even though this situation is going down. Like these are all like for me. I'm like I go to my wife and I remember it like vividly, and I say, "Honey,
I chose the right people."
No, I chose the right people. That's for sure. And I tell her, "Honey, I'm gonna fight this." And she looks at me in disbelief, and she's like, "You are insane." I have no more words left. But the second thing that I'm gonna tell you is that I got your back. And the third thing that I'm gonna tell you is that you're going to therapy, and you're going to therapy now, Mister. Okay. And fun fact about me, you mentioned that on the intro, I'm also a psychologist, an organizational one, never practiced, but also before that, never been to a therapist. I went to a CBT, therapist, cognitive behavioral therapy, really helped me understand, I sit in front of the therapist and he puts like biofeedback sensors on my fingers and he measures the levels of stress that I have in my body. And he sits and calmly says, you have stress levels of a soldier behind enemy lines under real life or death threatening situation. The like pain sensations in your chest that you're feeling, you are on your sure way of having a heart attack. I am very happy that you came here. And I'm like, probably me too, I guess. And now what do I do about it? So I get like an actionable like guide and manual to decrease stress levels. So first and foremost, work out. Stress is physiological. You need to let it out of your body. Okay, so I'm like, okay, what? Like 3 times a week and whatever? And he's like, buddy.
Every day.
You do every day until you sweat. When you sweat, I'm letting you off the hook and you can stop working out for that particular day. This is COVID. I mean, like, I do skip hop at like in my apartment, which is not very big because it's New York City. I use my kids as a kettlebell and like free weight. Okay. But I work out. And the second thing is that I do is mindfulness. So meditation, mindfulness, like taking that, taking that attention muscle and really working on that. And the third thing is you learn how to breathe. So I actually work with a wearable that I put on my finger that I know that I'm actually breathing well and tracking. Okay, the vagus, whatever, it's a nerve that tells the parasympathetic like neural system that you're actually, there's nothing happening around you. Okay, everything is okay. And by the way, the thoughts that are going through my mind, I am unhireable. I will never be funded again. My company, it's like, what the hell am I gonna do with all the money that I raised? The employees are gonna hate me. I'm gonna be a farmer. Okay? I mean, like, these are the thoughts that are going through your head at that particular moment in time. And you, as the CEO, need to go on an all hands in the meeting, like in front of 50 odd people, and say to everybody, it's going to be fine. We're going to win this. It's going to be amazing. This is an opportunity for growth. This is an opportunity for us you have to truly believe it, not just say it. Like,
how much did you truly believe in what you said?
I believed like hell, because there is, again, if you're gonna do it all in. Okay, like, of course I knew that I'm like litigating David against Goliath. Okay, but like there was no other choice. Okay, for me but to believe, but to commit. So I decided to fight rather than flight. And we win. For 2 years, we're the only company in the world that is able to collect data from Facebook by a federal judge's decree. And my amazing investors decide to put more money in the company at that, like for us to actually like have a shot. And then after about 2 years, the other party says, kind of, paraphrasing, of course, kudos, well done, really. They hire 4 additional law firms, spend roughly $25 million in additional legal fees. And for me, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. I mean, like, you come to a position where you realize that, I mean, there's nothing that you would do, that you would keep on doing, that it's not a fair game. And I don't want to be litigating all day long. Like, for me, it's not...
it becomes a question of energy management. And what do I want to do with my time, with my life? Where do I want to be?
Exactly.
Of course, it's not right.
Exactly.
But am I here to be right?
Yeah.
Or to move on with life, to grow, to see what else I can do?
And I understand that it's a growth and learning experience. And from that growth and learning experience, which I openly speak about just like now, because I feel that just generally as an industry, okay, like we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the fact that it's very hard to be a founder CEO, like super damn hard. I mean, like very, very damn hard. Okay. And people underestimate, that particular aspect of it, because basically what you're doing is you're putting everything aside, and in order to really go all in, because we're all aware of the statistics. Statistics don't lie, okay? Like 95% or 90% of the startups, I mean, they don't succeed. To do something against all odds, okay? And to really put on that rosy glasses and to think that you will be the one that is going to make it, you have to believe. If you don't, you will end up in the 90%. There's not a question about it. But in order to do that, I advocate that you have to build actively, proactively, your resilience. Okay, you need to work. I spent an hour a day, okay, during these 2 years building my resilience. Okay, but that was out of a preventative, and I later on understood how good is it. First of all,
this should be the default.
Yeah,
situation.
Exactly.
Not as a response to a crisis, but we need to strengthen it all day long.
Exactly. By the way, I became a hunk. Okay, I mean, you work out. Okay,
your
crazy.
wife said, "Okay, paid off." Okay, thanks to Meta, I have a hunk attack.
Yeah, I mean, you work out. Okay, you beef up. And by the way, there is a correlation. It's not a coincidence that you see super successful CEOs. Okay, look at Bezos. Okay, the guy looks like he's about to fight MMA or something like that. That you do Ironman, that they do Ironman, that they're triathletes, because it goes hand in hand with overachieving people.
The performance, understand that you need to take care of the body, the mind.
Exactly. It's all connected.
Yeah.
So
we spoke about the moment when you sit on TechCrunch and what follows. And then take us to the moment that you understand, okay, I've been in this fight for 2 years. There's another new fight.
Yeah.
Now my decision is different.
Yeah.
Not going to go through this fight again. All those thoughts, loop thoughts that you had in your mind, what happens with them now, and what do you feel inside? Are you feeling that you're a failure? Are you feeling that you're mature?
Yeah.
Do you feel that this is the right decision?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Do you feel that you're, giving up? What's going on in your mind then?
Let's start with imposter syndrome, which all founders have. I sit down and talk to Elon Musk. Okay, the guy who built whatever. I remember a podcast that he did with Seth Rogen, okay, where he smoked pot, during the podcast. And I don't know if it was the pot or he intended to do that, but even the most successful of founders have the imposter syndrome. So it goes hand in hand with what you think about yourself at that particular moment in time. Do you think, or you am I a failure? Does it go through my mind? Of course, because at the end of the day, you want to measure an outcome, not a process. Do I feel that this is the best thing that I need to, the best investment of my time would now be to kind of kicking and screaming and scratching and going down a rabbit hole of litigation is the best? At that moment in time, I understand, I think it was because I've been through a process, okay? And I'm asking myself, what is the best investment of my time, focus, and energy? And you come to peace, to
acceptance.
A peace, to a place where you accept the fact that this is not the best moment in, the best use of my time. For, by the way, going and reviewing these same stakeholders, okay? The best thing for me to do, okay, with the customers, the employees, the investors. Okay, like all of the people who believed in me, to the first go around. It's better. I'm better off going and starting a new business, making money for these same investors, paying them off. Okay, or taking my employees on a new ride because they've been so loyal. Like the ones who like made it, like they've been so loyal and amazing that they deserve, okay, like a better future for themselves, for me to create value for them.
Sometimes in different situations, but of course in what you've just described, we're so invested in the process and what happened in the idea. We're so in love with it, and it's so difficult for us to let go because of so many reasons and totally human reasons.
Yeah.
And this is the hard thing, the hard thing of hard things, to stand up, to look at the mirror, to tell to myself, I've tried.
Yeah.
And I have gone this road of fighting back. I did it for 2 years and I succeeded.
Yeah.
But now there's a new chapter.
Yeah.
And where I am today,
yeah.
where are my stakeholders today? Where is my family today? Where is my energy today? And can I look at reality, accept the complexity of it, and maybe choose another way? Not necessarily to continue in the same path. Now, each situation we need to see clearly, exactly under the circumstances, etc. But to have this ability to accept reality as it is, to understand that I'm not going to try and change it because I can do other things that at the end, if we measure growth, if we measure success, if we measure ROI, can bring a better results then.
Yep.
And then to tell ourselves like how we don't change a story, but we come to accept with the results that maybe this is the end of this chapter, but we're moving forward to another one.
Yep.
And to let go, of the negativity, of all the thoughts that are spiraling in our mind all the time. And it's a long process of acceptance, which is really not easy.
By the way, it's, sorry to cut you off, but like to literally complement what you said. As a founder CEO, your identity
definitely
is fused and meshed into the companies. I am Alon from Brand Total. What is Alon without Brand Total? That's you go through mourning, okay? Like the 5 steps, right? Like denial and anger and fear, whatever. You go through it. And only after you go through that mourning process, okay, like you understand that, okay, like there is more self-worth and value in me than just this business, okay? And you if you do that, like from if you have a supporting environment, okay, that helps understand what you're going through, like that mentor, my wife, the people who are in your life at that point in time that help you understand that it's okay, like it's fine. You can wrap this chapter up, okay, and move on.
And sometimes you need this kick, where to help you get into this decision.
Yeah.
Also, founders that are making exits, for example, and it's a good circumstances, they also can feel later on this feeling of, okay, I don't know who I am right now because I did it.
Yep.
I have a lot of money in the bank.
Somebody took the baby.
But that's it. The baby is not mine. Either it's I'm an aid or something else happened with it. Who am I now in this situation? I need to find, having money in the bank is one thing, but who am I in this situation? What am I going to do for the rest of my life?
By the way, imposter syndrome comes back right after that.
It never disappears, actually. Yeah. It never disappears. It just changes its faces, and the way it comes into our life. And that's why I really love everything that you said. I think that the most important muscle and the most important understanding that we have during this process is that being a founder CEO is a journey of getting to know ourselves in so many levels and in so many situations. And each time we reveal something else, we get to know a new competence that we have, a new muscle that we have, a new ability that we have. And this is also what's beautiful about entrepreneurship and about being a founder, CEO, that you develop all the time. So if I'm trying now to ask you what were the main learnings that you took from this period of time?
Yeah. There are a lot, as you understand, and like we did discuss like a bunch of them, but I think it's important to understand and accept what you can control and what you cannot. Okay. The reason why I decided that like that was a good time to move on is because I felt that I gave it all I can. I can't control the situation anymore. Okay. And if I can't control the situation anymore, there's no point of me thinking about what if. And I think there are a lot of these circumstances that happen that founders tend to underestimate and overweight their personal skills and ability, which they need to, by the way. That's part of drinking your own Kool-Aid. You have to. But I would say be much more aware of the things that you don't have control over. Let me give a proper example, not particular, specifically not from mental health, okay? Market, okay? You know this notion of product market fit?
Yeah.
Okay? Everybody's like, the product market fit. Like, everybody talks about it. Nobody tells you how to get there. We try to. But the point about market is that the market behaves in a certain way. You either back yourself up into the market or you don't. You don't change the market. Okay? You won't go to a Fortune 500 company and because you're super brilliant, awesome freaking tech out of this world, 15, 20, 30 people team is going to change on day one, okay, like how they operate. You're going to make a dent, influence just a little bit, but like be open and honest with yourself with what the market feedback, or like what are you actually getting back from the market, and pivot. Okay, like I know that's hard for like entrepreneurs to find it, like to listen to it, but ideas are cheap. Execution is king. Okay, like that's the way to go. Like whatever drives your company alongside like the big vision that you have, and a vision is also moldable. Okay, like it happens every once in a while that you adjust and adapt your vision to encompass more or focus more. It doesn't matter. As long as you listen to the feedback, okay, like from the market, okay, deep, every good founder CEO, deep in their gut, in their heart, knows what they're shooting to build. So hone that, know where you're going to, like what's the North Star. But like aside from that, I mean, like be super coachable, like open ears, open eyes, and learn from what people are telling you. Because I spend a lot of time, like we see 250 companies before every cohort. We end up accepting 10. A lot of the founders that we see are not willing, there are a lot of founders that I see that, especially first timers, and I'm sure it's for good reasons, not listening to the feedback. And we really, really try.
Not listening in general. I think that what lies in the basics of what you've just described is the ability to listen to all these signs. It can be a feedback from mentors or managers. It can be a feedback from the market, from customers. By the way, even when we grow and the startup grows, you still have to listen to the customers all the time and to be with a hand on the pulse to see how the product really delivers what it should deliver and what the clients, the customers really want, the users wants to have. But this muscle of listening, it requires putting the ego aside, being humble, and being open. And I really like the way you say it. I also say in Hebrew, you need to be coachable. To be coachable, it means that you are open to changes, to feedback, to agile, that you always want to grow. And every feedback or interaction that you're part of, you see it as a growth opportunity. And I think that's where lies the key.
It's a main criteria for acceptance of the program. We measure coachability. And it's very, like people would call it fluff, Like people would say, it's
strong,
it's
and
intangible.
I think it's easy to see. So when you have those muscles, it's easy for you to see it immediately.
I have kind of strong opinions, loosely held. Okay, that's what we want to see. Okay, I want to see like a founder that's convicted, but like if you put like two and two together in a logical manner in front of that person, all right, you know what, you might be right. I don't know what my go-to-market is. You know what? I don't have the right buyer persona. I maybe should not raise money right now, even though I'm getting inbounds from VCs. So I think like that's everything is kind of like a Gaussian, okay, like a bell, right? Like a bell curve, okay? So you got the founders that don't need any help, that have done it like twice, 3 times, 4 times, and they really do know best, okay? But like most of us,
the majority is not them.
the like most of us human beings, okay, like really need to listen to other people's advice, okay, in order to really build that
at
unicorn.
least to consider, and then to choose, but at least to consider, to be with open ears, open mind. So Alon, today is like how many years after you've made this decision to come?
2 years, a year and a half.
Year and a half. So today, as the managing director of the program of Intel Ignite in Israel, so how do you encompass all those learnings and all those, the way that you see things and the experiences that you've been through into the workshops or the coaching or the way that you actually see this is the way to work with founders?
So I think that the first thing that we do with them at Intel Ignite is we create trust, like an environment that says, and that's kind of rather unique. All of us managing directors for Intel Ignite, we've been in the trenches. We're all former founder CEOs, okay, all of us. So, when a founder sits, they sit in front of me in my office and like, dude, I'm crushing it. It's going terrific. It's going well. I'm amazing. And I'm like, dude, no, you're not. You're not. I know you're not because I've been there. Half the time you're in an embryonic position in the corner crying. That's fine. So if you drop the BS and tell me what's really going on, I can help you. Out of that situation, out of that kind of connection, a founder comes up to me and says, my wife was like, me and my wife were in IVFs and my mind is off the business. I can't focus. My co-founder is more of a CTO than a co-founder. What the hell do I do? Look at my board deck for tomorrow. Okay, how do I get out of what I proposed last quarter? So we get really intimate out of the fact that we've been there. We try to tackle like pieces that, at least for me, like as a founder, like I spoke about product market fit. Again, everybody tells you, you got to get there. Otherwise you die. You got to get there. Nobody tells you how. And what is it? And how do I know that I got there? So we have a product market fit workshop, okay, with like actionable, tangible, like stuff that I did, that other people did, okay, in order to get to that point.
Practice that's really works.
Exactly. So that's another example. Another cool example is around culture. Many Israeli founders know how to talk English. Not many of them know how to speak American. So, and I'm saying that again, like out of learnings, my own biggest deal was 11 a.m. tee-off time on Sunday morning in Boulder, Colorado for a golf session. And I went up to the golf club and they wouldn't let me in. I didn't have the collared shirt. I didn't have the pants. I didn't have like all of the attire that you need in order to play golf. And I schlepped over to a Kohl's, and I also had the nerve to tell my folks, the folks that I was meeting, that they did like that they just bought it because I thought it was endearing. It wasn't. And the point is that we try and help mitigate, or at least tell them, listen, there are cultural differences. Okay, like we take our founders like for an immersive cultural experience here in Israel, golfing, to really help them understand how the setting feels like. And like 95% of the time, you end up like talking to that other person, like, and you don't understand because at the end of a like 3-hour golf session, they said, okay, so Bob will follow up with you. And you're like, what just happened? Did I close the deal? And the answer is yes. Because the test wasn't about like your product or your technology. It's like whether I can connect to you as a person. And many founders just don't understand kind of the nuances of that. And culture is super critical and important. Let alone, okay, like that we speak about all of these mental health and building and resilience building aspects in our program. So aside from a stress management workshop with a clinical psychologist that we have and a co-founder relationship like therapy session, which are both of, I would say, first of all, like your first line of defense as building resilience is you, okay, like you versus yourself. The second one is like your co-founder relationships. Okay, it can be like a source of true like power. So work on that, just like you work on your marriage. The third thing that we do is a panel called the co-founder spouse. Basically, it's my wife, the wife of Guy Nitzan, wife Zohar Alon's, and Amit Einat Gez's husband, and we talk about the experiences of the spouse of a founder CEO.
The complex experience.
And how freaking hard it is to be married to one of us. Okay, it's unbearable because what you go and you tell your wife before you kick this off, right? Honey, it's gonna be amazing. We're gonna be rich. We're gonna be famous. It's gonna be
fun.
We're
gonna move to New York.
We're gonna move to New York. Yeah. It's gonna be super cool. What don't you tell your wife? I am going to be mentally unavailable for the next foreseeable future.
I'm not going to be at home. I'm not going to raise the children.
Even when I am at home, I am literally not really going to be with you, okay? Like I'm going to be in my mind. Can you please put your career development on hold? We can't be both going all in. Oh, and these kids, can you raise them for me until I get back? I mean, it's the experience of like being married to somebody who's physically there but not mentally present it's daunting and it's a hard one.
Yeah, and the trade-offs are big. The prices,
yeah,
it has a big cost.
Yeah. We recommend, or I recommend, like when like all founders that we work with, like put time on the calendar.
Definitely, me time and family time.
Me time, family time. Okay, and like they tell me I don't have time to work out. Like that 10th meeting that you're taking that day.
Definitely.
You don't remember what your name is.
One of the things that I do first and foremost with each founder I work with is to open their calendar. It's to see what's going on there and to clean the calendar as much as possible and to insert some self-time, me time, and the sports and everything that we've just discussed, because that helps them to create the right routines that they need and to pay attention to the critical support system and relationships that will help them later on to succeed in what they do. Alon, it sounds like you really enjoy what you do. It's fun. It's fun to be
I
in this
am
place.
enjoying. I am.
What are you going to do in 5 years from now?
It's a tough question. I'm going to be building because I like building. I don't know what, but the fun thing about like this current place is that it allows me to be a builder still. And to commingle with builders.
And to see all the exciting things that other people build.
Yeah.
All the time. To be with the most exciting things.
Yeah.
Alon, thank you so much for joining me today. It was really a pleasure, and you really know your way, and you are also a wonderful storyteller, not just with a lot of knowledge and experience, but you also know how to express it in a very beautiful way, and it was very enriching and fun for me.
Well,
to be here,
it means a lot about the person interviewing, feeling comfortable and like the setting, etc. So
thank you for that. I take the compliment.
Yeah.
People that want to join the program, how they can address contact you?
Yeah, so we're right now open for batch 9 in Tel Aviv, so please apply. If you're building something in deep tech, you've raised over $1 million, please reach out. You can find me over LinkedIn. You can find anybody from my team.
And if not to this cohort, then
for
the
this
next
cohort,
one,
then to the next cohort. Generally, if you're building something in deep tech, I want to know what you're building.
You want to know about it.
Yeah.
Alon, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed listening, I would really appreciate it if you share the podcast with people who you think would derive value from it. The Human Founder podcast can be found on all leading podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Podbean. You're invited to subscribe and follow us. And to be the first one to hear new episodes, please mind to rate the podcast so more listeners can enjoy it. Thanks to the amazing studios at Google for Startups that allow me to record here. And feel free to visit my website at galiblochliran.com and leave the details there if you wish to be updated and learn more about the mental aspects of the entrepreneurial journey. I always like to say to my entrepreneurs, let's hit pause till next time. So we're also hitting the pause till next time.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.